learning a lot myself as we go along. So if you know more about something that I'm talking about, please be sure and tell me. I don't pretend to know it all. We're going to do, there are four major components to Fort White. There's it's 648 acres altogether at Fort White, and they have the North Prairie that goes up all the way to Sterling Lion, and then there's the Aspen Forest that's a little farther south. Then there's the marshlands, which is mostly down here, and then there are 5 lakes. So those are the 4 major areas. And in addition to that, as part of that, there's a farm, and also up here there's a forest of some 300 apple trees and other fruit trees. So our tour today, there are 2 kinds of tours really, the North Tour and the South Tour. The South Tour tends to focus on plants and animals, and the North Tour focuses on the social history. So what I want to do is talk today about the interaction for the Aboriginals, the First Nations and the Métis people and the first settlers, their interaction with the environment, because it is Earth Day today. So the first thing I want to show you right now is this is the rubbing stone. This is really symbolic of the fact that there used to be 60 million bison on the prairies, and it went down to less than 1,000, after all the killings and what have you. It's now back up to 500,000. But these rubbing stones are all across the prairies. In Saskatchewan, there's even a particular provincial park, the Buffalo Rubbing Stone Provincial Park. And the symbol of it, the reason it's so important is because the bison use it for 2 things. They rub against it to get rid of the itch from the animals, and they also get rid of their winter coat by rubbing against it. So that's centuries and centuries of rubbing against the coat. So we're going to see a lot about the buffalo as we go north. This is what is called a travois, T-R-A-V-O-I-S, travois. It's one of the earliest forms of transportation for the Aboriginals. When the Spanish came over in the 1500s, they saw the Aboriginals were using these travois. They're really quite ingenious. In the early days, they used a dog, and the dog would be in here, and the 2 wide pieces would be on the ground, and the dog would be tied in. And they carried an amazing number of things. They even carried older people and children. When the older people couldn't walk anymore, they'd tie them onto the travois, and the dog would pull.
Just pulling it on the ground.
They pull it on the ground, and sometimes it was more effective than a wheeled form of transportation, because it could go through forests, and it could go through bogs, and go through snow. So it could do things that a wheeled form of transportation couldn't do at all. So they carried their meat, their pemmican, their firewood. Even when they took down a teepee, they would tie the poles of the teepee onto here and pull it. And so for years and years, it was dogs that pulled the travois. And around 1820, they started using horses. So